All right, let's get back to our top story this hour. President Trump's crackdown on crime, including new specialized National Guard units. Joining me now to discuss is Larry Krasner, the Philadelphia District Attorney. Thank you so much for your time this morning. So your city of Philadelphia is an example of a largely Democratic city where violent crime has decreased substantially in recent years. President Trump has said, he is not stopping at Washington, D.C. So let me ask you for starters, do you worry that Philadelphia could be next?
I worry anytime somebody wants to break the law. And we're talking about a man who's been convicted of 34 felonies. We're talking about someone who lies all the time. And one of those lies is that these big cities are not doing well with public safety. In fact, as of this morning, Philly is at a 50-plus year low in homicides. We're down in 14 out of 18 categories and subcategories of crime. This is just a lie. It's a lie in D.C., it's a lie in L.A., it's a lie in Chicago, it's a lie in Philly, and it's a lie by a criminal who pardons criminals, insurrectionists, people who are basically engaging in treason against the United States. Simply put, the only crisis here is Donald Trump, and that's because he wants a crisis. He wants a crisis so he can roll tanks in big cities, make it look normal, and he wants that because he intends to try to carry out a coup.
All right, so you mentioned the city of Chicago, and the president has said that cities like Chicago and New York are at the top of his list. What do you say, I wonder, to any residents of cities like that who might say, I do think crime is a big problem, and I don't mind the idea of more law enforcement where I live, because that does kind of boil down one of the president's main arguments, right? That he claims there are people pleading with him for an enforcement crackdown where they live.
I mean, it's a typical Trumpian lie. It's basically all that he does. National Guard is not law enforcement. This is not increasing law enforcement. If you want to have more police in Philadelphia, Chicago, et cetera, then fund them, just like we should fund the safety net that prevents so much crime, which, of course, he doesn't want to do. But let's not pretend that National Guard troops or U.S. military who are trained to kill the enemy are trained to be peacekeepers among the citizenry. That's not real. We've seen the tragedies that can occur here, including at Kent State in the 1970s when National Guard troops killed a bunch of students and shot a bunch of other students. This is just a wannabe dictator trying to lay the groundwork so people think it's normal to do stuff that is unconstitutional. D.C. is a place where Trump can get away with more because the law permits it. He cannot get away with this in big cities. It violates the 10th Amendment. It violates a variety of laws. And if those supposed anti-crime forces, which they're not at all, if they show up and they start committing local crimes, they can be prosecuted locally. They should be prosecuted locally. And here's the big part. Donald Trump cannot pardon a National Guards person who unjustifiably kills someone, harms someone, detains someone in violation of state law. He can't do it.
You just said that President Trump can't get away with this in big cities. Can you walk us through what exactly the legal recourse might be for a city like yours if President Trump were to try to deploy National Guards?
Sure. So under the 10th Amendment to the United States Constitution, the president has no ability to force local authorities to enforce federal law. So his Nazified deportation program, his improper use of ICE for that purpose, is not something that he can make the Philadelphia police, the Philadelphia mayor, the Philadelphia police commissioner, or the DA, which I am, carry out. Cannot do it. These other excuses that he is coming up with about why it is we should do this unprecedented thing that, among other things, violates the law of posse comitatus, all of this stuff it's basically a grifter in search of a crisis that doesn't exist. The only crisis here is Donald Trump. And he wants a crisis because he wants an excuse to cancel elections down the road. Maybe not these midterms, a little early for his game, but definitely after that, he's even spoken about it. He just spoke about it the other day when Zelensky was meeting with him in the Oval Office. He's talking about the cancellation of elections because of a crisis where there is no crisis. America needs to wake up. This is serious. We have elected officials saying nothing and doing nothing. It is not time to appease. It's time to fight.
Look, what President Trump is trying to do here, at least politically speaking, is seize on and promote a narrative that the Democratic Party is a party that is weak on crime. You've touted the fact that your city's crime rates have fallen. How do you think the party can better message that?
Well, first of all, they can tell the truth. Here's the truth. If you look at the last 25 years, and I have had my criminologist and my data lab do this, if you look at the last 25 years, the Republican states were more dangerous than the Democratic states, 24 of those 25 years, and it was a lot more. The homicide rate in the Republican states, meaning states that voted for the Republican candidate in the last presidential election, is 133% of the homicide rate in the Democratic states. My Democratic Party should have been saying this a long time ago. But the notion that a party that is actually terrible at public safety is better is completely false.
All right, District Attorney of Philadelphia, Larry Krasner, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.